I think I'm falling out of love with food. And what I mean by that is just like this unhealthy addiction to food, you know. And
Mm.
but when I said that, it was like one of the greatest feelings because I allowed that to control me. You know, I allowed food to control me, to control my emotions, to bring me up or to bring me down. You know, whatever the case may have been. It felt like a sacrifice at first, but the only thing is what you get, the returns are far much greater than the money I was spending in the beginning. And now I will tell you that I'll do whatever it takes to afford whatever I need to afford because of the value I get out of this program. Um, I can't stress that enough.
I just want to ask Ron a few questions about his health journey. He's a real inspiration to me. I love his determination, and I just wanted him to come on and talk about some of his victories, some of his struggles, and I think this will be really helpful for both people who are considering going on a health journey or people who are already on one. So, Ron, we've been working together for about 5 months now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what was your life like before 5 months ago. Tell me a little bit about what was some of your struggles, your symptoms, your conditions, and like how did it affect your life?
Well, it was the middle of the pandemic. I would say that during that time, I was very inactive. No gyms are open. And I should say in the beginning too, I'm type 1 diabetic. So having a place to access exercise and um, being active was very important. And so I thought, well, how am I going to lose weight? Like I don't know what to do. And I had a decent diet, but it was like I just couldn't lose weight. It was just really struggling. And so I was gaining weight and it was real frustrating. And for being a diabetic, that means it's harder to control my sugar levels and my overall health and overall well-being. So it affects everything for me. It's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so what are some of the changes that you've seen in the last 5 months? Like what has transpired in terms of where you are now versus when you started, and how has it just affected your health specifically, your experience physically, your health symptoms?
Well, first of all, I've lost 30 pounds since then, so very excited about that.
Yeah, more
Um,
than 30, right?
it actually is, yeah, a little more than,
A
yeah,
little over
as of
30.
last week, more than 30. So
Congratulations.
it feels good and it looks good on me too. And so actually last weekend, I was going out and I was going to grab my standard gray button-down shirt that I usually like to wear, and then I saw this black button-down shirt that I haven't worn in like 4 years. I was like, I don't fit in it, and I don't want to get rid of it because I really like the shirt. So I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, let me try this thing on. I try it on and I easily fit in it. I'm like, wow, I just could not believe. So sometimes as I'm looking at myself, I'm like, I don't know if I see the difference. But as soon as you put a shirt on and everything, you got all this extra space. You're
Right.
like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. And
Yeah.
you walk out of the door like the smile on my face now. The emotions that are attached to it, you remember, and you're like, okay. And it's such an encouragement and a motivation to say, this is, I just keep going, just keep going. And that's really important for me because I've given up on other stuff in the past out of frustration. So uh, I've developed with the program healthy habits where I didn't have like a structure all the time to for what I was eating and maybe how I was eating, like maybe times and things like and portions. So again, for being diabetic, this is actually very crucial. Counting, that there's part of like the calories, the amount of food portions that you're eating. I used to just eat until I couldn't eat anymore sometimes. And
Yeah.
now it's very consistent. I have consistent energy throughout the day. I'm not like overeating and then I need an hour or two to, you know, get moving again, that which in the past would happen. So much better patterns with my food, but I saw it spill over on my other areas of life with my business, with learning the consistency, the habits of every day and every week consistency has been vital in really changing my patterns, my thoughts, your neural paths. So with neuroscience, you change the neural paths in your brain. So my brain has been getting retrained on how to operate, and it's been in healthy ways and and to reach goals. And it's been just exactly what I've needed, to be quite honest.
It's amazing, man. And there's just so, I mean, we don't have time to go into everything, but there's been so many things that you've told me
Yeah,
about how just even unrelated to health that like this is different in my life. I'm showing up in this area of my life differently. My business is
yeah,
moving forward. I'm taking more action, which is phenomenal. And that's because we focus on the mindset, shifting our mindset to get health rather than just following a diet. We're actually changing who we are. We're transforming from the inside. And so that is changing. When we
yeah,
change who we are, it changes everything that we do, not just our health. And
yes.
that's what I love the most about people who really buy into the vision of this approach. Like it transforms their whole life and not just their health.
Yeah, and you have to give it a chance, and that's the whole thing. Like I was skeptical in the beginning, and then I had a couple friends that were on the program, and I was like, okay, I'm going to kind of watch them from a distance a little bit. And then I talked to you a couple times, and um, it was because of your engagement with me is what really helped me. It seemed like this wasn't a sales tactic, which kind of everything else on the web seems that way.
Hmm.
And this was more about a lifestyle change, and I was ready for it.
Tell me, and you're ready for it now, but tell me because I remember we had a couple of conversations right last
Yeah.
year where you're like, "Oh, I'm interested in getting on track with my health, but I don't know if this is for me." And tell
Mhm.
me a little bit about, well, tell our listeners here a little bit about what were some of the struggles that you had with like committing, like taking the leap to saying, okay, I'm gonna actually buy into this track, right? I'm gonna take the leap. I'm gonna give this a real shot. What were some of the things that were like holding you back? What were you experiencing that was, a hesitation or resistance back then?
Uh, well, typically I'm skeptical of everything because of, again, with the health challenges I've had since I was young with diabetes. It seems like I developed a distrust, and it's like it's hard for me to warm up to an idea being legitimate. And so, but I was bouncing around with different ideas of maybe I'll try this, maybe I'll try that, um, but everything was like a, do it on your own type of scenario, whatever, the other health, programs may have been. Um, but as I talked to you and you being a coach, it wasn't just talking to somebody who just started the program, which was maybe someone in the same boat as me. You've been on the other side of it. You've been, with it for a while. And so seeing that really helped me and catapult me, I think, to believe that kind of like created a spark that, okay, maybe this is something that really is possible. And to be honest, that was the biggest thing that encouraged me was our conversations.
Yeah, awesome, man. Um, Now, where you're at now, like you lost over 30 pounds, your shirts fitting that you haven't worn, been able to wear in ages. The energy, like how you're showing up in other parts of your life, the forward momentum, the structure, and just your overall sense of well-being, the balancing of your blood sugars, right? You've been able to reduce your insulin
Correct.
usage, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
take less insulin now. Yeah.
So how many years has it been since you've been at this like level of like health and forward momentum?
Well, it's definitely lopsided. So I had a lot of, I depended on food for like my emotions, anxiety, and everything. So I was an anxiety eater. So right now, this is the best I've ever eaten in my life.
In
Just to
your
give
life.
you in my life, yeah.
In your
Because
life.
in
Wow.
when I was in my when I was in my 20s, I was very active. I was still in sports, playing, and had physical work jobs that I did. However, I also had the worst diet of my life. And again, remind you, anyone that's diabetic knows how key diet is. Um, I worked at a pizza shop part-time. We got free food. I ate all the carbs I could possibly want. We made our own food. Plus, I would eat candy and all these types of things. Like food was my addiction. Okay. And on a funny side note, I told you, I think last week, I said, uh, I think I'm falling out of love with food. And what I mean by that is just like this unhealthy addiction to food, you know. And
Mm,
when I said that, it was like one of the greatest feelings because I allowed that to control me. You know, I allowed food to control me, to control my emotions, to bring me up or to bring me down. You know, whatever the case may have been. And I love that how it's again, it's worked in my mind and my heart and my emotions with, you know, I'm fueling my body throughout the day. You know, I'm not just, you know, whatever I find in the cupboard, grab it and consume it. You know, it's very strategic and and focused. You know, so it's super helpful for me.
yeah. I have a couple things I want to say about you, but I have one more question before I do. And if you guys watching, if you have any questions for Ron, feel free to drop in the chat window. Um, if you think about, like Ron 6 months ago, we talk about future Ron, we talk about past Ron.
Hmm.
If you think about the version of you 6 months ago, that was like, we had a few conversations where you're like, well, I'm thinking about trying this, and I'm trying to get back on track with my health, and they were getting this period where we were just kind of like bouncing around and not really making any headway, and you were a little skeptical about like different options, what you should try. If you look back at 6 months ago, Ron, from where you're standing now, with all that being said, of how far you've come, what would you tell yourself 6 months ago? Like if you could travel back in time, like what would you tell yourself to encourage yourself or just to help give yourself that valuable piece of information you need to think that's that key to moving forward?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to tell myself, because I've struggled in the past with being stuck with like weight issues or other things, is that if I want different results, I have to try something different
Hmm.
because I've tried a lot of different things, but they weren't quite enough, especially because of the support, with groups and with you as a coach to actually, um, I think, get past like one or two notches, on the ladder, so to speak, with this and create like real, like global change in my own life.
Hmm.
It seemed like other things were kind of band-aids and patches. So it would be, say, look, Ron, if you want, if you really want something different, and challenge myself, then this is definitely something different. You have never tried anything like this before. Then maybe that is a clue that you need to go in this direction,
Yeah,
and have some trust too, with the people that are encouraging me in it.
that's good, man. That's good. Yeah, there's something really powerful about aligning yourself with the right people. It's having
Yeah,
having a good plan and a good approach, right? Just in general in terms of strategy, but aligning yourself with the right people, like the people, the community, the mentors, the accountability that really
absolutely.
allows it to that really allows like that is that missing piece, that really
Yeah.
allows you to do the plan, to do the strategy, right?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And um, there's some communities that it's like, oh yeah, we're a group, we're a community, but it's not quite engaging. But the people that I've been surrounded with, starting with you and a lot of others in the group, um, are very engaging, very compassionate, empathetic, because you guys have been through a lot of it already, and especially with my challenges, and to see how you've come through on your challenges, it's someone that can empathize with me. And so, and even with being diabetic, like we talked with, uh, I think we talked with the dietitian in the beginning, to help me with what I was going through. And that was like key. Like I needed that help. because of my challenges that I deal with.
Yeah. And you still have challenges, and I love I was just, telling you, Ron, one of the things I love about you is your honesty and your transparency, and that you're real about stuff, and you're real about your struggles. And I know you're very much still in the battle. Like, you've got some hurdles left to clear, with your health journey, and you have some hurdles left to clear with, with other areas of your life. But it's not like we get to this place either of like perfection where it's like, oh, I'm free from all problems. But it's
Mhm.
like, what are we doing with those problems, and are we allowing them to drive us into the ground, or are we getting stronger and overcoming them?
Right, right. And exactly. And to your point, I won't make this long, but back in November, a little over a month after starting the program, my father passed away. I had to fly back to my hometown, and that in the past that may have sunk me. Like, I've been like, forget it. I'm just going to eat whatever I want. Maybe drink whatever I want. And I stayed on the program like the whole time. And even during that time, I was there for Thanksgiving. First time in my life, I never ate any carbs for Thanksgiving. And I'm going through, it was a very hard emotional time, my father passing away, and being on the program, I was like amazed to see how this was getting built and generated in me for consistency, and it really helped pull me through. And I was amazed by that, to be honest.
Ron, I've publicly just honored you on social media before, because I think you're one of the standout people that I've worked out just in terms of your heart. But it chokes me up when you talk about that, because here you were, your dad just died that you're close to. You lost one of the most
Yeah.
important people in your life, and then COVID hit. Had COVID hit your family, so you had to be separated from even the rest of your
Right,
family. You're in a
right.
foreign city where away from your friends, away from your dreams that you're pursuing, and you're there sitting alone on Thanksgiving in a house. And I mean, how much better of a opportunity to just eat your feelings and stuff yourself with cake, and knowing that it's going to damage your health, but just doing anything to escape that. And that you, in that even that short time of really pursuing this, that you got to a place where you could have all of that going on, and that you said you had such a strong vision that you said, you know what, I don't care. Like, I'm moving forward, and I'm going to be the man that I've set out to be, no matter all these excuses, no matter the fact that my heart's
Yeah,
broken because my dad's gone. I'm separated from my family. I'm alone on Thanksgiving, the time when I normally would treat myself, with a bunch of carbs, right? And
yeah,
all the reasons to medicate. And you said, no, I'm going to stick to my intention. I'm going to stick to my plan, and I'm going to keep moving forward. And I commend you so much, Ron. And you're an inspiration. You're an inspiration to me. You're an inspiration to other people. And I love that you're, even with all that going on, that you're pushing through. And that's the reason why I asked you first. I mean, I want to talk to other people too in the future, but you were the one I want to talk to first, because it's amazing. And just have the humility too. You don't just have the determination, but you also have the humility to say, hey, I need help too. Like, I'm committed, but like, I want support. And you're doing this as a team. You're doing this in community.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Thanks.
Um, That's awesome, bro. We have one question here from Joni. She said, "Was it a sacrifice financially?" Any thoughts on that in terms of the money? I know, it wasn't always easy to make it a priority with the money and things being tight, but
Yeah, I would say I've always looked for something to be an excuse, and that was my first thing. Like, I don't know if I want to afford it or if I can, but sometimes you just want something bad enough, and you say, look, I'm gonna go for it, and I need this more. Um, well, to answer your question, um, it felt like a sacrifice at first, but the only thing is, what you get, the returns are far much greater than the money I was spending in the beginning. And now I will tell you that I'll do whatever it takes to afford whatever I need to afford because of the value I get out of this program. Um, I can't stress that enough. Um, there's so much, a lot of resources and help that you get. that I normally, to get what I get out of the program, would take maybe 2 to 3 other sources for me to get all those different things. And to get everything in almost a one-stop shop sort of a thing is pretty remarkable in my opinion, because I bet, like I said, I bet a lot of things throughout my life, and to have this has been a big spark in my life, and produced a lot of change. It changed so many patterns in my life and in my thinking.
Yeah.
And that alone has brought, I've gotten way more out of it than I expected already. I thought, okay, another weight loss thing. It's been a lot more than that. My life globally has been restructured, I would say. So for that, I would say best money ever spent, honestly.
And I mean, I do this as part of a system. It's not like I don't do this independently, so I can't even really set my own rate anyway. But if I could make like a health plan or coaching free, like I could afford to do that, like I could do like work for free, um, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it even if I could, because there's something that really changes when we make sacrifices for something. We tell ourselves it's a priority,
Yeah,
and things that come easy, things that come cheap, we don't value.
that's
And
true. I
so
believe that.
if it was just something like, hey, I signed you up for this free coaching thing, like, it doesn't cost anything, like you can just do it. Like, do you think that you would like lean into it so much that you would make it a priority to like do the calls and like reach out for help, the way you have?
Yeah, to me, it's like the scenario of, I've heard stories of people that, like, they paid for their way to go through school, and it's like if
Hmm.
you're paying your money, whether you're paying for it through savings, hard-earned money. A lot of people are working while going to school, like college, full time. It's like I am busting my butt, and I am not wasting my money, you know.
Yeah.
And there, for me, that has been true. Where it's like, yeah, if I'm investing and I'm doing something, then you're darn right. I'm going to make sure I'm getting my money out of this, you know.
Yep.
So it's like if I was going to do this, I am all in. I'm not doing it just to, I don't have, a lot of um, disposable income to say, whatever, if it works out, it doesn't, I don't care. It's like, no, that's why sometimes it takes me a little bit of time to know for myself, will I invest in this? Because it's like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it all in, and I want to get everything I can out of the program. And then after a month and a half getting into it, it was like, whoa, this is real. Like this is, and only 5 weeks into it, 4 weeks into it, whatever, seeing the transformation. All like to me, that was quick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, I don't want to keep you much longer, but I mean, I don't know that you could really add anything to all of that. That was powerful. But any last words before we say goodbye? And I'll share this on my page so people can watch it later who missed it.
my biggest thing is, I think, as you encouraged me, was to keep engaged with like the groups, and like 'cause we have our Facebook group, obviously. That's been big, because even if I don't respond, like I'm listening to what stories of people say, and it's just from all walks of people, from all walks of life, just to stay engaged with it. And the biggest thing, and you told me this, that uh, see if I can remember it right, but my old patterns were not getting me to where I want to be at, you know, and you can rephrase it if I said it wrong, but
Sure.
the old patterns got me to where I was, I was,
Hmm.
that was 30 plus pounds ago. And when I get tempted, I'm just like, you know what, I don't know, I want to eat this extra whatever, or eat something, that's not on my list to eat. Um, is that part of the old programming? Is that part of the old pattern? And the old patterns will not get you to where you really want to go. So knowing your why, and knowing where you want to go, having that vision is key. and then knowing what patterns are going to get me there, and then follow that, and it'll get you there. You'll be on the right path.
Yeah, yeah. When you get to that, when you're at that juncture of decision making, you know, and you're struggling with like wanting to go back and or stick with your old way of doing things, just to remember that the way you've been doing things, or the old way that you were doing things, is what got you into the mess that you're in.
Yeah,
And for all the reasons why it's attractive or why it's enjoyable or pleasurable or tempting in the moment, um, it's choosing, by doing that, you're choosing that old way, you're choosing that old
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
And if you want a new way, if you want the new you, if you want, you know, that vision, like you said, that why that you have, then you've got to make the new choice and go a
yeah.
different direction. Yeah, that's
Yes,
awesome, man.
yes,
Cool. Well, it's been great, dude. Thanks so much for doing this. Thanks so much for sharing.
yes.
I know this
Thanks
is
for
gonna,
asking.
this, even if this just helps one person to like be that
Yeah,
turning point in their mind, to like leave the
for sure.
old them, and to realize the new them, and to overcome whatever they're
Yeah,
dealing with. It's gonna be worth
more
it.
than worth the risk. More than worth
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, brother. Talk to you soon, Ron.
All right. Thanks. Okay.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
joining, guys. Bye.